Hello, hello. I'm Mark,
Hey, and I'm Marty.
and welcome to the premiere of Stay in Your Lane, a sobriety show.
Yeah, we're super excited. We're going to be sharing some really dynamic content over the course of our shows, and we look forward to sharing our sobriety stories with each of you. And I think that we'll start with our own introductions today. But first, I want to remind you we've got a lot of good shows coming up. So make sure that you subscribe, like us today, tell your friends and family, and we look forward to spending a lot of time together.
Yes, absolutely. What I'd like to do first and foremost is just share our mission. Marty and I used to talk every morning on his way to work. And in our own sobriety journey, we both found that it was such a great way to start the day. And it empowered us both to make the day the best day that we could. It gave us lots of support in our sobriety foundation. And we thought, oh my gosh, we should start taping this and share this with people because it's real life experiences that really help cement, foster, and strengthen our journey in sobriety.
Yeah, I think it was inspiring. It was just casual conversations, totally candid, not scripted. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, it's so nice. And, we don't have we're not claiming to have all the answers or any answers. We're just talking about real life stuff and real life emotions. And hopefully it'll help you in your journey as well. So, our mission is to relate everyday life experiences to help those affected by addiction and living sober. We want to use the purpose, passion, payout as the foundation of the show. And we are going to have a whole segment on passion, purpose, and payout. So, we'll dive into that more later.
Yeah, I think that they'll be hearing that content from us a lot because it's so meaningful and it's so powerful. Yeah, we will touch on in later segments in greater detail, but you'll most likely be hearing that those three from us often.
Yeah, and the passion purpose payout is a very core strength of mine and Marty's sobriety journey. And I think that it will be really helpful for you on yours as well. Um, our vision is we want to share sobriety's sweetness. We want to encourage dialogue on living a full life. We want to empower addicts and those affected by life with addiction. We're going to avoid preaching. Like I said, we don't have all the answers. We just want to share what has been successful for us and open up a dialogue. We want this to be charismatic, unbiased conversation and support. We're going to be vulnerable and we're going to take ownership of our journey and we're going to share that with you because we want to help you sustain your own sober journey. So I'm just absolutely thrilled to be a part of this. I recently sold a business and have gotten into transformation coaching full time. So this is going to be a great avenue for me to also learn more about myself and strengthen my sobriety journey as we talk about real life.
Yeah, and I think that an important thing that to add out of our vision, which is there's no judgments here. There's nothing that our viewers can suggest or add or like us to talk about where we would judge them, and because hey, it's we've all are just living our lives, right? And we can learn from one another without judgment. Once we start passing
Absolutely.
judgment, it's a trap.
Yeah, and I think that's such a good point, Marty, because I think it's also a perfect time to let everyone know there is no, or there are no two journeys that are going to be exactly the same. So, what Marty has found successful in his sobriety journey, I have carved out a different path in my sobriety journey. We have a lot of parallels and a lot of overlap, but your journey is independent for you and you can find the things that work, the tools that work for you, and use those. The ones that don't work or that you don't connect with, it's not worth using those.
Yeah, you might put them in the tool shed for later. It might work later, uh, but like you say, I can't emphasize enough, Mark. You're exactly right, and I think that we'll share each of our journeys to where we're at today, and a lot of it might touch home with you. It might sound familiar, some of it might not, but it might be something that you face in the near future, So any bit that we share, we're doing it to help each other and help ourselves, and especially help you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll just dive into a little bit of my history. I was a social drinker starting in college. I moved to San Francisco after I graduated college, and I was thrown into a culture that I had never been exposed to. So a lot of partying on the weekends, a lot of drinking, ecstasy, um, and I just got wrapped up in it. I don't think I was comfortable in my own skin at that point. So the substances and the alcohol made me comfortable with who I was. And the drugs never got me, but after 24 years of repeated alcohol use, basically daily, then that addiction caught up with me. And I was able, for the better part of my adult life, to hold my responsibilities together. But in a matter of 6 months, I got 2 DUIs, I had a car accident, and then unfortunately, I lost my younger brother to an alcohol related car accident a month after I decided to get sober. So I knew I had to get serious. And I had my aha moment through the course of those 6 months. And that's what got me to where I'm at today. I'm over 2 years sober, and I can't even begin to tell you how joyous and passion filled my life has become in those 2 years. So I'm just thrilled to share some of that experience with you and talk about how life has been transformed for me during this sober journey.
Listening to what you've shared already, Mark, even myself, it made me think of different instances and things that I've been confronted with through my addiction. And thank you very much for sharing those, because I think that's important to be able to relate to what people are sharing with you. And yeah, so thank you very much for opening up on that.
Oh, absolutely.
My story is pretty similar. I, once again, I wasn't comfortable with who I was, because I mean, it's a generational thing too. I think a lot of it has to do with your upbringing. But growing up gay, it's you're most of our parents were straight back then, straight couples. So you didn't really have role models as adults that you could look up to. So I started drinking heavily as soon as I got into the gay clubs, right? And at 21 years old, 22, that was my outlet. I had always worked quite a bit of hours, went to work 11, 12 hours a day. And the way that I found to reward myself was going out to the clubs and meeting new people, drinking. And then that evolved, like you hear a lot of stories do with addiction, that evolved then into doing drugs. And I did ecstasy, once again, because I wanted to be able to stay up with my friends and have a good time, and everybody else was doing it and they were okay. So why wouldn't I do it and be okay too, right? So then I also transitioned and moved to San Francisco, where I mean, it was just socially acceptable, like everybody else with drinking, and it seems like when you get into these bigger cities, it just is more commonplace and easy to access. So that moved up to ketamine and then methamphetamine. And I found myself, I was able to go to work, function. I even went to the gym, took my vitamins. So, it was just part of who I was at that time. And then I moved back to Michigan because my parents are getting older. And I really looked at myself after a bunch of tumultuous relationships with other addicts, because I avoided non-addicts or sober people. Of course, I would never date them; they were boring. So I just always threw myself into that same tumultuous relationship with the same ending, right? So mine is 4 years on voting day, presidential voting day, and everyone remember to vote. And so I'll be 4 years sober here, coming up on November 17th.
November
And
3rd, I believe.
what's that?
Isn't it November 3rd?
Yeah, I think maybe it was November 3rd. You know what? That brings up a good point for one of our show topics later on, is don't focus as much on what day it was as much as the quality of life that you're experiencing sober.
Right.
And
Good point.
Yeah. So thank you for pointing that out, Mark. Shame on me. um, but yeah, so you know what? We all have a story, and they're stories worthy of sharing. And I think that's for our launch show here, that's what we want to do is share our stories and make everybody comfortable. So please make sure that you send in your information, share it with us. We have an email address that you can send us your information if you don't want to post it on YouTube. And that's sobriety show for you at gmail.com. And that's sobriety show, the number 4 and the letter U at gmail.com. And you can get Mark or myself at that. You mind if Mark, go right into the show topics, or you want to throw something in there about our?
No, I think it's great. I think, as a preface to the show topics, we have to have some sort of a guide so that we have a structure to follow during the show. But the magical part of our coffee conversations and the way this all started is we might think one day we're going to talk about relationships and addiction, but the conversation might go in a completely different direction. And that's the beautiful thing about this. So join us and be patient with us, because the conversation may lead into something a lot more wonderful than what we had originally discussed. But that's the magical part of keeping this casual. I think it's going to be really helpful for all of us.
And I think as we move further along, like when we share with everybody how we're both moving towards living our dream lives and how it's all coming together, with sobriety being a strong foundation to that in later shows, I think it's very inspiring. I mean,
Definitely. I mean, we're both in completely different spaces than we were 2 years ago when we started having these conversations. And that's why we're both super passionate to share these conversations with you and to find out what you want to talk about.
yeah. Um, So let me just run through the show topics real quick. First of all, like we said, we're going to be talking about purpose, passion, and payout. There's a platform for that, and I'm really excited because this came to us in one of our morning talks, and I think that we've really saw the importance of it. Also, lowering your expectations on yourself, others, situations. When I first told Mark about that, it kind of like lowering expectations. You'll get a better result, and that's going to be one of our show topics. Sober distancing. Check out our sober distancing show. It's fantastic. Social acceptance and pressure addiction. There's a lot of things out there that we just take for granted. Dietary. Alcohol is so easily accessible. Recovery versus sustainment. You hear a lot of people that talk about the recovery, but we want to talk about recovery and sustainment. Even addicts have purpose, so we have to make sure that we disseminate.
Disseminate.
Yeah, anything related with shame about any of your addictions that you have, right? We want to be able to put it out on the table, be vulnerable, talk about it. That's probably going to be one of my favorite shows. It's just, making sure that we all feel powerful in our own skin and who we are. Another great topic I think is very, very valuable is vacationing with drinkers and alcoholics and drug users, because, even though your friend group just evolves and changes as you get sober, that doesn't mean that you have to stop vacationing with friends of yours that are still drinkers. Mark just went on a vacation. He's got great information to share with us about the friend group that still drinks. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, people can drink. Unsupportive and self-enabling. Misery loves company. We're going to talk about that. And one of the things is that misery loves company, but it loves secrecy first. And that's how I found myself with my addiction, is that, I kept it a secret instead of being forthright and talking about it. And then we're going to talk about different support options. Myself, I went to a behavioral therapist, and that worked for me, but I didn't start out there. I tried a bunch of different other resources too, and there's a lot of good ones out there. mind you. And Mark's going to talk about his coaching program, which I think is the new evolution of sobriety. The purpose and presence, making sure that you're living your purposeful life. You know, we hear that a lot. We hear people talk about it, but you don't really know what it means until I think you get in a forum like this, and we're actually deep diving into it and being able to help you find your path to your purpose. The dreams that you have in recovery, that they could be pretty powerful. I know that some of mine really wanted to suck me back into, you know, it felt like I just had a drink, or I just smoked a bowl of meth. Um, so there's a
So it
lot
was a
of power.
nightmare. It wasn't a dream.
Right? Relationships too. Hey, your work relationships, your friend relationships, your family relationships, your one-on-one, your spouse. We're going to be talking about all that. It really, the dynamics of being sober versus an intoxicated or a substance driven life. It's much, I mean, much more rewarding. Um, we are going to get into the sex and intimacy. So hold on to your seats. Could be uncomfortable, but that's what this whole thing is. We want to be vulnerable. We want to put it out there. And we don't be defined by your past. Make sure that you are living presently, that you are living your true life, who you truly are. And so, yeah, that's just the top of the charts. Those are the ones that we have outlined for everybody. And I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm super excited as well. Thanks for running through those. I think the other important thing for us, and please use the email to do this or comment sections, but if there's topics that you guys would like to discuss, throw them out there, because we definitely want this to be as interactive as we can. And we're also super excited, you know, once we get rolling, to have some guest speakers or guests join us on the show. We think that would be really valuable to get some other perspectives. So I'm absolutely thrilled that you guys are here. I'm thrilled to be a part of this, and I can't wait to see what happens as we continue to grow.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot. I'm glad that you said about the growth, is because that's what we're continuously always doing. Each of us is evolving and changing and growing, and to be on a rock solid foundation with that through my sobriety gives me the ability to have strength moving forward, right? And I want everybody that views our show to leave each of the segments feeling that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And this show is coming completely from a place of love. We want to spread love and we want to spread strength in sobriety. So please join us, like and subscribe this channel. And I'm so glad you're here with us.
Yeah, I look forward to the future. And Mark, I just want to show my gratitude. Thank you for starting this venture with me. I think that we're going to touch a lot of lives positively, and the only way it's going to be a success is if others help participate and get the word out there that we're here. Get your loved ones to watch. You watch. Tell your friends, family, and we'll be here.
Excellent. Yeah, Marty, thank you so much too. I'm so grateful for that morning when we had that first cup of coffee while you were driving to work, and we both thought, there's something here and we want
Yeah,
to share this with people. So for that, I'm forever grateful. And I'm forever grateful that it strengthened my sobriety. We've had a lot of ups and downs in our friendship because of alcohol and other substances. And I'm so glad to be in this strong, secure place in our friendship.
yeah. Look forward to sharing it with everybody.
All right. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you soon. Bye bye.
Bye.